Back when Barack Obama became president in January 2009, the unemployment rate among African Americans was a startling 12.7%. But guess what? Fast forward 4 years, that number is even worse. The current unemployment rate of this group is now 13.5%. Now, unfortunately, those aren't the only startling statistics when it comes to those, for example, who need food stamp assistance. In 2009, over 7 million African Americans participated in the program. Now, according to the most recent information that we have, this number has now risen over 10 million. And that's not all. In 2009, over 9 million African Americans were listed as living in poverty. This shouldn't come as a shock. Today, that number is worse. According to the latest data, over 10 million are now listed in that category.
I think that we in America, we're attracted to icons, and I think that his election initially represented, a moment in history where we all knew there had been some progress, but the fact that there was an African-American president elected was a good thing. That's certainly not a bad thing at all. I think many people felt a sense of pride about that. But the bottom line is the policies are what are going to make the difference and make the legacy, and those policies have not been in the favor of not only African-Americans, Native Americans, or America as a whole.
It's time for us, especially as Black conservatives, to move beyond the race discussion and start talking about how we persuade people. And honestly, when I have had an open, passionate discussion about why I am a conservative, former liberal, now conservative, and I've explained, why, it's because I care for my people. It's because I care for my community. It's because everything we've been doing for the last 50 years has made things worse for us, not better. And I want us to try something different.
I have been a member of the Republican Party for 10 years now, proud member, had a road to Damascus conversion where I fell off the donkey and saw the light. And I have had the opportunity to speak with friends and family members about the conversion. And the conversation starts around the kitchen table with a cup of coffee and one person at a time discussing what our values were growing up in our households and in our churches.
We have to be patient with those that cannot see the light, that aren't there yet. And as the judge said, go back to our communities. I don't want the Republican Party to go to my family. I can go myself. And if we do that, we'll convert way more people.
When you hyphenate yourselves as Americans, but you don't focus on the fact that we're people, we're human, you're American, the left uses the hyphenation to separate you.
We're Americans, period. If we're going to make the transition the way we need to and see America, in my opinion, come to this revolution of our constitutional foundings and come back together as a country moving forward, we have to start seeing ourselves as Americans. You don't go to French and see Black French or Italian and see brown Italians. We are Americans, not African American, not Black American.
It's really self-segregation when we hear this term. When you hear African American, oh right, we're Africans, but or Americans, but a certain kind. We're Americans like everyone else, and I really reject Jesse Jackson's self-segregation paradigm.
I wanted to pick up on something about why the enthusiasm among blacks for Obama is what it is. And I think part of it is symbolism, but I also think the media plays something of a role in making blacks almost feel guilty if they don't enthusiastically support the president. I see the media as generally an extension of the left. And the left really has no use for blacks who don't want to blame the problems on other people. If you're a black person who wants to use racism or the legacy of slavery as an all-purpose explanation for everything wrong in the black community, they will embrace you with open arms on the left. But if you say that incarceration rates and education skills and so forth and illegitimacy rates need to be solved by blacks themselves, the left has no use for you. In fact, they see you more as a threat.
If you say that someone's a racist or they play the race card, it instantly kills the conversation. This president's policies have failed Americans in general, and they have failed the black community in particular. What they're doing for the lack of school choice is killing our kids. What they're doing with gun violence in our inner cities, it's killing black kids. But does the media want to discuss this? No, because it takes away from the narrative that Obama, the Democrats, doing all these great things, and Republicans are racist, and they don't really get it.
There are way too many people who are afraid to come out and say something because of targeting from their family, their friends, people who are close to them. And so we have a great room of leaders here. There are many, many more black conservatives out there, and we need to do more of these programs, but also to develop a support court system so that there are more people can come out for liberty and talk about the implorable educational numbers and the ridiculous crime rates and all of that.
I'm the social media director for the TeaParty.net, and just talking about the left using race as a basis of everything, I manage our Facebook page. The majority, 75% of the posts that go up are from me. Yet we still get, put a picture up about Obama and say something about his policies, and we're racist. I've shared videos of me speaking at Tea Party rallies. I've shared articles that I've written, and people still accuse me of not existing because I can't question Obama. And I think one thing that we really, thank you so much. One thing that we really need to keep in mind when you think about both hyphenation, and it's not just the loss of the black community, but also of the youth, it's the fact that we've let the left take control of the school system. I was a teacher for 12 years, and I remember teachers from well-to-do areas talking about the kids who had a mother who was a drug addict and a father in prison. And they let these kids slide by and gave them all these special privileges. And I would tell them, look, you're not doing that child any favors. They need structure in their life beyond anything because of what they're going through at home.
Judge, advice for kids.
Get your education. It's the key to knowledge.
And parents force them. Advice.
Absolutely. My advice would simply be learn both sides. If you need to learn how to argue both sides for yourself.
I hate arguing the liberal side.
I'd say the same thing, and I think school choice is vital to this. One of the very first things President Obama did when he came in was shut down the D.C. voucher program. That was a shameful thing. We need school choice all around the country, starting with D.C. and elsewhere.
Good advice. Well, yeah, you're a state legislator.
It's
Advice.
about prosperity, Sean. Conservative principles lead to prosperity. Reject the notion that you have to have a special standard in order to compete. We did it in Oklahoma, and we're showing that it works.
I am more conservative than I am GOP. And that is the reason because I was brought up in the Tea Party. Now, what I think the difference between the Tea Party and GOP is people orientated rather politics orientated. I am a people person. So using my youth, the people that I hang with, my generation, the disconnect is when you say the Constitution is good, we want to go back to our founding principles, we want to do all these they don't know what the principles are. So you say you want to explain it, they don't want to hear what the principles are. How do you get them? You get them what they say. Give them a wallet. Buy him a wallet and tell him, here's your charge. Never ever let a police officer take this wallet from you, and never ever let it go empty.
None of us chose our birth. But what we should be able to choose, regardless of color, and we recognize it, we see it for what it is, we should be able to choose our future, and we have opportunity in this country, and that's what is the promise of America. And you don't choose your birth, but you choose your future. You should have the right to pursue it.
Don't be scared to fail. All you got to do is keep getting back up.
Whenever someone is telling you to pay attention to a minor issue like this, the color of your skin, question that. Understand that they're deflecting. They don't want you to think about the real issues. And that's what this entire discussion has been about, the real issues. Learn those.
The majority of our children are living in poverty, and that has been billed as the government's help. And so my question would be, you see your mom, you see her struggling. Is it enough? When they tell you, we want to help you, all you've got to do is look at where you live right now, look at what you get right now, and then ask yourself, and then ask your mother. I'm speaking as someone whose mom had a third grade education. And so what you've got to do is you've got to say, is this enough?
Get an education and be wary of groupthink.
My advice to young people, don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. Have a goal, have a dream, and do everything that you can to achieve that dream, but it starts with the basis of an education.
I think it's crucial for young people to empower themselves, and in that way they can be independent and not rely on anyone.
Think for yourselves. Don't let other people tell you what to think.
Either or.
Oh, please let me have this. We are dying.
Yeah.
We are killing ourselves. No one is doing this to us. We are doing this to ourselves. If we do not stop it, no Democrat is going to stop it, no Republican, no liberal, no conservative. We must stop killing ourselves.